are joined by Sunaina daCunha, co-head of fixed income at Aditya Birla Sunlife AMC Limited. As co-head, Sunaina leads the overall credit portfolio of the AMC. She started out as a management trainee with the group and has been part of the AMC business since then. Sunaina is a CFA charter holder from the CFA Institute, Virginia, USA. She is also an MBA from the Faculty of Management Studies, University of Delhi. Sunaina, welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Sunaina, I think we should begin this episode by setting some context and exploring the relationship between gender and finance. Women in India have been saving since ages and are pretty good at it. If they are able to figure the monthly budget so well, what do you think hinders them from investing formally? And do you think this is changing?
So I think the last couple of years have been quite a wake-up call, particularly the COVID period and the post-COVID period. Because prior to that, we saw that, particularly during COVID, when women were suddenly had to pick up the reins, the financial reins in the family, and prior to that, there were not even conversations happening in family as to, where the wealth is, where the investments are, do we have health insurance, do we have life insurance? So at that point of time, suddenly to pick up the financial reins, was quite a quandary for anybody at that point of time. So are things changing? Yes, I think things have to change, and they are changing as well. You're right. Women are extremely good savers and they're extremely well able to manage their monthly budget. But when it comes to investing somehow, that is seen as a little bit of a big bogey. I have so many hats that I wear. Is this one more hat that I want to wear? I don't have the time for it. Let me outsource it completely. But the idea should always be that, even though you may bring in a financial planner, or even if though you may actually depend on somebody else, you also at all points of time need to know what's going on. And you need to be able to understand where your money is, understand how to invest it. And nowadays it's very easy because there's so much information available at all points of time. On the internet, you're able to speak to a lot of, investment planners, speak to people who are knowledgeable, and then make wise decisions, along with maybe somebody who is, a professional in this, and then, continuously keep tracking and taking charge. So I think things are changing. It would of course help if we have these kind of conversations at our family tables.
Right.
And also I think if we have like an investing 101 that is started, let's say at a school level. It's only like, for example, I myself only started learning about investments when I actually started doing a commerce degree, and then later on during my MBA. But prior to that, as part of formal schooling, that was never a subject actually taught.
Amazing. Working women in India don't seem to be aware of the diverse investment tools that are actually available to them. And so let alone leverage any of these financial avenues. Now, can you name a few golden rules that women must follow to build a sound financial plan and ensure they have financial freedom?
So I think the first thing, is already start saving and start investing. Women have a lot of goals. You have those short-term goals and you have long-term goals, and you need to bucket it thus. So your short-term goal could be that holiday, that piece of jewelry you want to buy, something like that. The long-term goals would include, let's say, child's education, buying a house, planning for your own retirement, and things like that. So you need to bucket, firstly, your goals into short-term and long-term. Then you need to do a little bit of cash flow planning. So you know your expenses, you know your savings. Now, where can those savings then be addressed and invested to meet those short-term goals and long-term goals? What are the various avenues that are available to me? What are the various different kinds of asset classes available, and how do those perform? So, for example, if I'm a risk-averse person, I may prefer to invest in those asset classes which are less volatile. But if I'm looking for a longer-term goal, can I take a little bit extra risk So because I may be able to attain that goal with over a period of time, that volatility maybe smoothens out. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind. Also very important, I think, is for women particularly, is to have like an emergency fund, because there could be a possibility that there could be breaks in your earning, breaks in your career, either childbirth or taking care of elderly parents, or for some reason or the other, and that emergency fund will then smoothen you out and see you through that period as well. Investing is one part of it. I think you also need to look at health insurance and life insurance and ensure that you're adequately covered, and more importantly, keep investing in yourself, be it through financial investment or be it through continuous education, continuous learning, continuously understanding and deepening your understanding and your education.
Fabulous. This sounds like we all should be sitting on Excel tonight and figuring. And I love what you said about preempting the obstacles that you might have. I think just envisioning what could be the issues and kind of pre-planning for them is definite for a financial freedom plan. And that's absolutely spot on. Could you also suggest some of the easy ways for, a first-time women investor to start investing and so that they're able to take control of their finances?
So I would say start early and start investing early. It could be as simple as picking up a systematic investment plan in a mutual fund. Whatever you're able to save on a monthly basis, you put that every month aside through the systematic investment plan, basis a fund that you have chosen, basis what I told you earlier, right? Doing your cash flow planning, doing your goal planning, and trying to figure out, where you want to invest. There's a lot of calculators available nowadays on the web. You can always reach out to a financial planner to help you. But initially, when you're starting off, an SIP would be a nice way to initially start off. But what you also need to do is at periodic basis, not very short term, but at a periodic basis, a year and a half, continuously, you need to continuously keep tracking your investments and recalibrate in case you see anything going awry. So if you have a plan that you want to have an X percentage in equity and an X percentage in debt, let's say from a broader asset allocation perspective, you need to keep recalibrating that through your journey. But I think the most important thing is to actually just start investing.
This is so much about how a woman as an individual can start stepping into her own financial freedom. Now, if we look at the economy, could you share what you think will be the impact on the economy, both at the micro and the macro level, if there's inclusion of women in financial matters is on par with men?
Some time ago, I read a study by Niti Aayog that said that about 24% of women are part of the workforce. And if that number actually went up to the global average, which is about 48%, then you're adding about $700 billion to our GDP.
Wow.
So you can imagine the kind of impact that would have on our economy if you actually formalize, and get women into the formal economy from that perspective. So that's one. Secondly, if I look at it, and we've touched on this before, women, tend to save from their monthly household budget. But where does that saving actually go? Traditionally, it's been kept maybe in cash. Quite a bit of it came out during demand. Some of it, gets converted into, let's say, jewelry or gold. And sometimes it finds its way in the informal markets through loans, to friends and family, etc., in the informal interest rate markets. But if that was actually to formally find its way into the financial markets for a capital-starved country like ours, it could make a difference. At our mutual fund, we invest a lot in these microfinance institutions. And as part of our due diligence, I've traveled to a lot of, of these center meetings that they have at the village level. And, those are all groups of women, self-help groups, joint liability groups of women, who, undertake small economic activities and they borrow for that purpose. And when you're sitting in those villages and you're hearing the stories of those women and how through their ability to actually start off with an economic activity from the loans they've taken, how they've been able to now provide for their family, the kind of confidence that actually gives them. You can actually, those are very heartwarming stories. Now, you see that at the ground level happening. You can imagine, if you're able to do that at a wide scale level and, women come into the formal economy, to what a great extent, the world can actually change.
Sunaina, currently the times that we live in, a strong network or a strong social support for women is still the men around them, be it the father, the husband, the brother, the son. What do you think is their role in bringing women forward in investing, and how can they help?
So I think, firstly, a casual conversation over dinner, or just to bring about awareness as to, where the investments are, how they're being made, just general awareness of how much health insurance it is, in terms of any emergency, what are the, where to reach out to, how to redeem money, etc., and where it is invested, would be a starting point. But I think we've evolved beyond that as a society, and I think in a lot of cases we are seeing, when I talk to some of my wealth management friends, they are seeing, when the family is looking to invest, let's say, a sizable amount of money, you do see the couple coming together. And, taking and being part of those meetings also is extremely important, because initially you may want to, just listen and understand, but you'll also ask questions, and, that's how you'll get more and more involved. So I think the most important thing is to start the conversations and to start gradually getting more and more involved. And involving, the women in the household, more into these kind of discussions.
Before we close, is there some advice you'd like to give to the women who are listening to us right now, those who are intimidated or who are not sure how they can be, first-time women investors? What would your advice be to them?
So, investing is not rocket science. It's simple. There's a lot of literature out there. We just need to set a little time aside for ourselves and for our investments. Read, discuss with people who are knowledgeable, and just start investing. Don't be over cautious. Don't be over worried. Don't wait for markets to fall or when I have more time, or the usual excuses that I'm of course generalizing here, but the usual excuses people come up with. I think you need to just start investing.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. I mean, even your own personal story of how you became more aware of it early in life, I think has helped a lot of us listen and understand and hopefully follow in those footsteps. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Same here. Thank you very much.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.